my God, look, there's a gay man.
No, seriously.
You're such an absurd
I thought you would say, of
being.
course I have gay friends.
You're just such an absurd being.
First off, my question to you is, and because people think that you are you anti-Semitic?
No, I'm not anti-Semitic.
Go on.
Go on with what? You asked me a question, and I answered it.
You said
I don't even launch into defense of myself because I'm just not anti-Semitic. There's nothing that I need to add. I guess today anti-Semitism, the definition keeps expanding, and now I guess it means if you don't fall over yourself every time Bibi Netanyahu speaks, they're just going to call you an anti-Semite. Nope, I'm a Christian. Kids being bombed is upsetting to me, and I have a right to say that without being called an anti-Semite. And if you want to call me an anti-Semite for it, I simply don't care.
I'm not calling you an anti-Semite. Because people call you that, and I think, look, if you there's the whole talk about Zionism and anti-Semitism and whatever. I think it's a conversation that you just can't win. But I would like for you to be able to explain yourself, because
Judaism is not Zionism, and it doesn't matter how many people insist that it is. It's just not. It's a political party, and it puts the interests of Israel above everything else. I grew up with Jewish people. Jewish people are my best friends. The nation of Israel is not Judaism. It's a nonsense to suggest that we can critique, as we did earlier, talking about Joe Biden, that we can critique our own president, and nobody cares, because we should. You should be able to hold leaders and their decisions and their feet to the fire. And then to say that if you do the exact same thing over what Bibi Netanyahu's actions are, then you're somehow anti-Semitic.
Okay, I understand that, and I don't disagree. I think you can criticize and analyze the actions of the Israeli government, the IDF, and also Bibi Netanyahu. But to say that, listen, I'm not anti-Semitic because I have Jewish friends. It's kind of like saying I have black friends. I don't think that actually helps your argument.
No, I didn't say that. What I was saying is that I have Jewish friends. Judaism is not Zionism, as in I have friends who are Jewish who don't support what's happening overseas.
Okay.
Judaism is not Zionism. They don't stop being
So I ain't gonna lie, she cooking right now, but that was a good question.
Jewish because they disagree with what Bibi Netanyahu is doing.
Okay, you say that you're not anti-Semitic, but, I can't tell you what's in your heart. I believe you. You said that you're not anti-Semitic. You don't believe that you're anti-Semitic. But there are anti-Semites and neo-Nazis. They do love you. And I want to play this clip. This is from Nick Fuentes, his show just this week. Watch this.
One other big development, Candace Owens did a show today. She did her show, and she talked about my beef with Jordan Peterson. And so I really appreciate her covering it. We love Candace Owens. She's beautiful, she's very intelligent, and she is really hardcore. She's been going off.
Does that bother you that, that's the whole reason I said, it looks this way, and maybe that's not your intention, as you said, but it looks this way, like you're saying, hey, don't look at what happened with the Holocaust, look over here. But if you have people like Nick Fuentes who say, hey, we love you, whatever, maybe your message isn't hitting correctly. What do you think of what they're saying?
Well, now you're just conflating.
His neo-Nazi audience love you.
Sure. So now you're just conflating things because you're still kind of trying to sell this narrative that this somehow is about Jewish people. What Nick Fuentes is talking about, which is the first time I'm seeing it because I don't watch Nick Fuentes nearly as much as apparently everybody in the mainstream media does. What he's talking about is what I covered on my show as a news item, which was Jordan Peterson and him having a back and forth. Or Michaela, Dr. Jordan Peterson is, by the way, very lovely, very kind person, but it was a very newsworthy item when Michaela and Peterson, being his daughter, called for censorship, called for straight up censorship. She's like, we need to have censorship, anybody that uses the term filth. And it was a back and forth between her and Nick Fuentes because he responded and he said, your father literally called me a rat last week. This was a trending item on Twitter. I covered it on my show. To the extent that Nick Fuentes enjoyed the fact that I covered it in a meaningful capacity, because it is problematic when anybody calls for censorship. I don't care if the person's on the left or the person's on the right. You will make an enemy of me because I support the First Amendment and I believe that we have to have free speech. What can I say about that? It's an absurd thing for people to keep pretending. I'm a person that has, across social media, 10 million followers. And when you start getting desperate because you can't actually pull something that I've said, you start going, well, what do you think about this account? And this person has also said this, and this person likes you. If you did that, and I was then accountable for the words that every single person that followed me said, there's no way you can survive that. I could do that right now to you. I could have had my producers, look at this person who follows Don Lemon. They've said something against black people, so Don Lemon, it's like, that's a ridiculous thing to say. But to the extent that you ask me, and this has happened before, as Piers Morgan did, he said, this is some things that Nick Fuentes have said, do you agree with it? And I said, no, I don't agree with that. Yeah. Hold me accountable for what I actually
said. Well, that was the reason I asked you about it. Because
Yeah, but I
So
don't agree. That you showed me.
I'm not. This is not a gotcha. I'm asking you.
But that is such a gotcha. That is such a gotcha to say it's nothing that you said, but let me show you this person who likes you. Because what you're trying to do is play this strategy with the public so they watch it and they go, well, she must be saying all sorts of things if this person likes her. Most people do like if you're going to say something on their show and you're showing the back forth that, he's obviously going to say, look, Candace covered this issue in a way that's consistent with the beliefs of the First Amendment. So he may say something that I fundamentally disagree with. But if Nick Fuentes says 1 + 1 = 2, and I agree with that, that doesn't mean that I subscribe to everything Nick Fuentes says. If Nick Fuentes says only women can give birth, and I agree with that, you then go, oh, look, Nick Fuentes is celebrating you because you said only women can give birth. I mean, you're smarter than this, Don. You're in the public sphere. You know we cannot be beholden or responsible for every comment that is made by people who support us and follow us.
Well, that's why I put it up there, because if someone like Nick Fuentes was saying good things about some of the things that I believed or what I said, that would actually be problematic for me, and I would want to respond to that. I would welcome the opportunity for Candace Owens to play that clip on her show so that I could knock it down and say, I don't believe in anything Nick Fuentes or any of his followers or viewers or whatever. I don't understand why they are happy with what I said, but this is what I believe, and this is the context.
I do believe that it is problematic that Michaela Peterson called for censorship. So I can't knock that down. I can't say, like, what do you want me to say, Michelle? Well, because Nick Fuentes agrees with that perspective, I'm now anti-speech. I believe in free speech. I believe that what Michaela Peterson said was wrong. I genuinely believe that.
Okay.
Like, you can't just call for censorship.
Do you believe that what she said was wrong?
I've got to ask you about this because this is from your old show, and as I said, there are some things. I mean, you've actually defended me before, and I was like, wow, Candace Owens, whatever. And there are things that I do where I say, you know what, Candace got it right. I like it. And there are other things where I'm like, oh my gosh, why is she saying that, right? And this is one thing that I've been wanting to ask you about, Candace, because it really bothered me. But I want the explanation in the context, as you say.
Do you have any clips of anything that like you agreed with, or we're just gonna like pretend this is a friendly interview as you okay. Just wondering, is there even one clip of something that you agree with?
I don't know, maybe I agree with the next clip, but anyway, roll the next clip, please.
Bring shame back. Bring back saying you are disgusting, you are wrong, you are a hoe, you are a pervert. Call things for what they are, and that is another way they've psychologically tried to transform speech in America by saying like, oh, you have free speech. But if you say that word, like if you say like, oh, that's whack or that's gay, then that would make you a homophobe. You don't want to be a homophobe, do you? It's no. We shouldn't do that. And I think that the disappearance of words that actually had real meanings, like growing up, majoring in English, reading old English novels, and understanding that a word like is a real word. It means a bundle of sticks.
Okay, so listen, I believe in free speech, right? But I also
she just went. Oh, she went crazy. Oh my God.
I believe that free speech comes with consequences. So the word you said was right. Is that exactly the word? So what did you mean by that? You think it's okay to say the word, to call people to their face?
No, actually, I said words have meaning. And so when you start allowing the perverts to dictate speech, then words just have to go away. And as I said in that clip, when I was growing up and I was reading English novels, when people say you're walking through the woods to get it meant a bundle of sticks. And then they said you can no longer say this word that has a real meaning, right? A bundle of sticks, because some pervert took that and threw it as an epithet towards gay people. I think that's actually, that's a wrong way of thinking, is then what you're doing is you're allowing perverts to dictate society. So I don't like the death of the English language because people are getting offended. So that's like, I could pick any word. I could say, plant. And from now on, every time I see a gay guy, I'm gonna be like, he's a total plant. And then eventually they say you can't say plant anymore. It's like, no, this is a real word that has meaning. Attack the person who's perverting the word, but you don't suddenly disappear a word and you say you can no longer say it, or you can no longer read these Virginia Woolf novels because the word has been perverted. I think that's a backwards way of thinking.
Read Virginia Woolf novels, and the only people I know who are trying to ban books, Virginia Woolf, and other books that even say the N-word. I mean, it's conservatives. That's who's trying to do it. I don't think that you should be banning books. But I do know, Candace, that words, language.
And I'm strongly against banning knowledge, because saying that pretty much, I believe that people got too close to a good reparations argument with a lot of the documentation that came out, and I believe that what ended up happening was it was like, hold up, wait. If everyone knows this, we can't push this us versus them agenda, so we're not even gonna allow them. Same thing like they did, bro. They had a Bible only for the slaves, so it's the same thing now. They just now the new slaves, the babies, they can only know this stuff, not the truth.
Evolves over time. And when people say that word to me, they're not calling me a cigarette. They're not calling
No,
me.
well, obviously, that's the point. It has a context. So if you want to punish that person because they're saying that offensively, that if you feel that this person, but it's not fair to then say to everybody else who's not using that word, this word has now been banned. I just think that's ridiculous. That's my point.
You think people?
Like I don't think you can suddenly say go backwards and delete words that had real meaning because someone has perverted it, because it never stops. It just becomes constantly having to update the language for people's feelings. I don't think that we should be doing that.
So you would never call me a my face, right?
Well, why would I just randomly call you?
I'm just meaning.
Have you ever seen the Louis
C.K.
skit on? Have you ever seen the Louis C.K. skit on?
No, I like Louis C.K., but I don't think I've ever seen a skit on.
You should watch it.
Yeah. No, but you would never call like a gay person that to their face.
That seems like an absurd. Like what? No, I'm not just going around. I'm a 35-year-old mother. I don't go around being like, "Hey, you're." It's just like I'm not 18 years old. Like I'm not going around calling people names. Period. I wouldn't go up to a fat person and call them names. Wouldn't call it. Just like it's an absurd thing to be going around pointing and calling people names because I don't like them. I would no. So the answer is no. I would.
So this seems like okay. We're gonna attack Candace. That's what I've noticed too. When she goes on an interview, it's straight attack her character and move on once she makes a good point.
Not.
Do you use the N-word?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. Here's something interesting that we may have some common ground on. Okay. But what do you think about same-sex marriage?
It's a sin.
You think it's a sin? So you think
It
I'm
is a sin.
sinful?
What's that?
You think I'm sinful because I'm married to a man?
Yeah.
You do.
Yes, you're sinning. You're in a sinful relationship. I actually don't believe marriage can be between two men. So I don't.
But you understand, though, Candace, and maybe we're not going to agree on this now. I thought we would. Do you understand, though, that the same Bible verses and the same scriptures that are used to call same-sex marriage sinful are used to call interracial marriage sinful as well? And so there are people who would say that you are in a sinful marriage.
Can you tell me which verse it is that would make people
the thing is that it's actually not there, and that people twist the Bible verses. That's my whole point. Thank you for proving that, because it doesn't say that, and it's actually, you're going to say Leviticus or whatever. It's not actually what Leviticus says. But go on. I don't want to get into specifics about the Bible, but that's not what the Bible says. It's just people using and interpreting Scripture in a way that they want to interpret it. So, look. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I don't believe that I'm in a sinful marriage, but there are people who believe, Candace Owens, that you are in a sinful marriage because you are in an interracial marriage. And I say that as someone who is in an interracial marriage, so I am doubly sinful.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody make a biblical argument against people being married that are black and white. So that's why I said, can you just tell me what verse? Well, sodomy is obviously a sin. But I've never heard a biblical argument. I'm happy to learn. I honestly, I'm happy to learn.
Sodomy is not just for gay sex, right? You know that, right? Sodomy is.
Yeah, it's a sin always, by the way.
Yeah, it's a sin between. It can be a sin between heterosexuals as well.
Yes, that's correct.
So you've never heard that interracial marriage was sinful?
I've never heard somebody make a biblical argument for interracial. I've never, and that's why I'm saying if you could present that to me, and maybe you're familiar with what verse that was.
Yeah, but actually it's not a biblical argument. It's also a religious argument as well, more so than anything, that you're in a sinful marriage and that black and white people should not be married.
I'm obviously very aware that people could think that ideologically, but I've never heard that biblical argument made ever in my life, and I'm happy to be proven wrong here, but I think you made that up on the spot there.
So by saying that, no, I didn't actually, but by saying that you believe that I'm in a sinful marriage, does that mean, though, that I should be discriminated against?
No, I've never called for discrimination.
So you believe in the separate of church and state, then?
Heterosexual couples can sin as well. I mean, I hope that you deal with that. I want you to be Christian and to understand why it is that sodomy is a sin, and what else it yields in society. You know, I believe that
So I don't agree with this. I feel like she going a little hard on what he got going on, and like that ain't got nothing to do with her. But you know what I'm saying? To each his own.
marriage is between a man and a woman.
But that doesn't mean that you believe that I should be discriminated against. I
don't believe
be
any
able to
person-
have, under the Constitution, you believe that I have the same rights as you and other heterosexuals, and that my marriage is just as valid under the Constitution as anybody else's, including this.
Well, I believe that the problem became that gets into a deeper theological discussion, but like the government should have never taken marriage away from the church. It should have been something that was maintained as a church practice. And so a lot of things happened there when the government took over and began marrying people, because then the arguments became, well, you get a tax break if you're married, and that is a way longer discussion that we can have on a different day. But to answer your question, I would never want any person, based on their sins, to ever be discriminated against, ever. I mean, I don't believe in discrimination. I don't believe that people should be treated differently. I think people should get help, you know? And like we were just talking about with trans indoctrination, I believe that's a mental illness and people should seek help. But I don't believe that they should be discriminated against. I'd never be okay with that. I mean, I have people that are, you know, gay and lesbians in my life. I have cousins who are lesbians, so it's not, I don't have hatred in my heart.
You have Jewish friends? You have gay friends?
I'm trying to be funny.
Do you have gay friends? I want to know.
Yes, I actually don't have, like, I really kind of feel like I only hang out with my family right now, so I'm a little, I've got 3 kids under 3, so I don't really have friends right now, but yeah, sure.
No, seriously, you don't have gay friends?
Well, I have gay people in my family, so yeah, that's the extent of my friendships with gay people.
Are you homophobic? No, seriously.
You're such an absurd
I thought you would say,
being.
of course I have gay friends.
You're just such an absurd being. First off, the person that you're just an absurd human being. Are you homophobic? I'm just like, what does homophobia actually mean? Can you give me a definition of homophobia? If I was homophobic, would I be doing like this show? Do you think I'm like scared? Like I'm like, oh my god, look, there's a gay man. I'm so scared.
No, not at all.
Homophobia is like to have a phobia, a fear of, like, you know. You think I fear like 2 gay men that are walking down the street holding hands? Like, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so scared. I don't fear anything but God. That's it.
I ain't gonna lie, she blazed that boy at the end. I was not expecting her to blaze him like that. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about that. That was way better than what I thought.